Hey there, and welcome back to Sit With It, Notes from the Participatory Edge. This week, we're sitting with a word that shows up a lot in conversations about youth participation: trust. Let's be real. When we say we trust youth, what do we actually mean? Is it a feeling, a belief, a handshake agreement, or is it something we're holding tight without even realizing it? In participatory spaces, adults often say things like, "We believe in youth voice and we want to empower young leaders. We trust them to lead someday." But underneath those words, you might find something else: a quiet hesitation, a protective instinct, maybe even fear. What if they're not ready? What if they make the wrong call? Aren't we still responsible for protecting them? These are real questions, and they come from a place of care. But here's the paradox. You can't build trust for youth while treating them like they're inherently untrustworthy. Let's think about it. How many adults would want to be empowered by a group that's secretly monitoring every move, ready to step in the moment they mess up? That's not really trust. That's supervision wrapped in good intentions. It's a trap disguised as mentorship. Real trust isn't about disappearing. It's about showing up differently. It's about walking beside young people, not ahead of them, not behind them, but staying in relationship, co-creating decisions, and supporting youth as they practice power. It might be messy, it might be brilliant, but it's on their own terms. And here's where safeguarding comes in. Safeguarding is often misunderstood as a set of legal boxes that we must check. But in participatory grant making, especially with youth, safeguarding is foundational to trust. So what does it mean? At its heart, safeguarding is about building intentional structures that prevent harm, respond to risk, and support youth in ways that protect both their well-being and their leadership. It means putting systems in place that don't just protect young people, but protect their right to lead. It's things like designing youth roles with clear expectations and boundaries, preparing for emotional triggers when lived experiences come up in funding discussions, offering support not just during a crisis, but throughout the entire process, creating real ways to raise concerns safely, and being willing to shift based on what we learn. Safeguarding isn't about hovering, it's about scaffolding, constructing a structure around youth leadership that allows for risk-taking, reflection, and recovery. And that includes recognizing power dynamics between youth and adult staff, between peer decision makers, and even within systems that have historically marginalized or silenced youth voices. So let's also be clear. Safeguarding doesn't mean setting up so many rules and checks that participation becomes performative or exhausting. The best safeguarding practices are proportionate, collaborative, and youth-informed. We ask young people to show up authentically and vulnerably. So let's make sure we've created spaces where that authenticity is respected, not exposed, where their stories aren't used as data points, but as catalysts for systemic change, where emotional labor is met with support, not silence. Because trust isn't just about saying, "We believe in you." It's about showing youth that they're not alone when things get hard. It's about centering care, not control. And it's about remembering that young people can be powerful and they need protection at the same time. So here's what I invite you to sit with this week. Where in our organization do we say we, quote unquote, trust youth, but act like we're still waiting for them to prove themselves? Where might our good intentions around empowerment actually be creating invisible barriers to participation? And finally, what would it take for our trust to feel like presence, not permission, like solidarity, not surveillance? Because trust, it's not a handshake. It's a daily practice, a shared space, a posture of belief, and yes, a commitment to safeguarding not just safety, but dignity, liberty, and leadership. Let's keep sitting with that. Thanks for being here. See you next time.